From the KBEY studios in Marble Falls, it's the Coach Todd Dodge Show. 30 minutes of sports information on the Marble Falls Mustangs with the Mustangs head coach Todd Dodge. Reviews of previous games and this week's game to be heard exclusively on KBEY 103.9. The Coach Todd Dodge Show is brought to you exclusively by Discount Beds and More. Now, your hosts, Jennifer Fierro and Ben Shields.
Thank you so much for joining us on KBEY 103.9, Texas Best Country, and Northland Channel 15. Yet another rendition of the Coach Todd Dodge Show, and a glorious one. It was such a great victory for the Mustangs last Friday night, winning 56-51. Coach, what a wild ball game against the Bulldogs.
Well, I think it had all the makings of one, and I don't think anyone in Burnet County was disappointed as far as the type of effort and the type of explosiveness that went on in the game. You know, it was two groups of young men from 14 miles apart that just poured their hearts out on that field from about 7:30 to 10:30 last Friday night. And I know that Coach Jones and his staff are very proud of their young men. They need to be, and you know, we're very proud of our players and the way how resilient they were throughout the game.
It was up and down the field, Coach. What was the buzz like on the sideline?
Oh, it was great. You know, the one thing that we've talked about in our program ever since we got here is never panic. You know, there's going to be adversity that goes on in a ball game. Other teams are going to make big plays against you. It's our job to get over and get things done. You know, we've got to make sure that we're result oriented. And I was very proud of, the way, from our offensive standpoint, our offensive players just kept answering the bell. Defensively, I know we'll talk about as the night goes on, or as the show goes on. It was not a great night for either defense, but our kids made some crucial stops early in the ball game and late in the ball game that really ended up being the difference. As we told our players after the game, we lose as a team and we win as a team, and I want them to all be proud of that victory. And it's in those high school rivalries, it's always nice to have that win under your belt for a year.
You know, the 107 points scored in the game is the most by the two teams in a single game in the 127 meetings. That was the 127th in that series. So, and we're gaining on them now, 40, 49, and 8 in that series, I believe.
Well, we try to chalk up as many as we can, but Burnet, as I told several of their players and their coaching staff after the game, they've got every reason to believe that they've got a chance for an outstanding season in their 3A league, and I would not be surprised to see Burnet make a really nice run into the playoffs this year. And I wish them all the luck. And and I truly, myself and my coaching staff, once that game is over with, I'm rooting for them to go win all the rest of them.
All right, Coach. So you talk about you chart to your offensive goals and defensive goals. Did you hit your offensive goals last Friday night?
We hit some. And the one thing that we try to do. Excuse me. We make sure that they understand that the number one thing is to win, and that's the number one on both goal boards is to win. Offensively, we ask our players to be 75% on a unit grade, and you kind of think of it as a test. Collectively, 11 guys are taking a math test together, if you will, and about every 3 plays, you got a chance to either get a check or an X, basically. And our football team graded 88%, our offensive unit. So we asked for 75%. We feel that's winning, and 88%. We were 30 of 34. 50% on third downs. We were exactly 50%. Probably one of the best things that our kids are doing right now is scoring on the first possession of the game and the first possession of the second half. We ask our players to go out and get a score on that first possession. We've done that in 3 straight ball games in both the first half and the second half. No turnovers. We didn't get that goal. We turned it over once, actually twice. We missed the onside kick. No 3 and outs. We had 3 and outs during the game. No drive stop by penalty. We ask. We're realistic. We know we're going to have penalties, but we got to overcome them, and we did. We didn't have any drive stop by penalty. Score 100% from the red zone. Every time you get inside the 20-yard line, you got to come away with points, and we scored every time we entered the 20-yard line. Score after a turnover, probably the difference in the ball game. Special teams created 2 turnovers to start the game, and offense turned them into points. And that really gave us the 14-point lead that we were able to kind of keep Burnet at bay and never let them get the game tied up during the course of the game. No sacks. Really proud of our offensive line. We threw the ball 47 times, only gave up one sack, and so it was a pretty good night. It was 8 of 11 defensively. We were able to achieve a few of our goals. Forced 2 turnovers. We forced turnovers. We won the ball game, and then we had crucial stop in the red zone early in the ball game. One that probably gets lost in all of the explosiveness, but after we got the 14-point lead, and then Burnet had their first drive of the game, they drove it down inside our 5-yard line. Our defense held, caused an attempted field goal, and we blocked it. And when you kind of sift through all of the ebb and flow of ball games, that was huge. And that was Aiden Parnell, our senior cornerback, that came in and blocked that. And that very well could have been the difference in the ball game right there.
You might hear that on our highlight reel coming up here in just a few minutes. It is the Coach Todd Dodge Show, brought to you by Discount Beds and More in Marble Falls. They bring you the show each and every Tuesday evening. We're live right here on KBEY 103.9, Texas Best Country, and Northland Channel 15. You're also always invited to stop on by here, the KBEY studios, and enjoy the Coach Todd Dodge Show right here at 1007 Avenue K inside the Picayune building. So look forward to seeing you out here. You can also email your questions for Coach Ben at ThePicayune.com. That's Ben at ThePicayune.com. Highlights on the way. We appreciate you tuning in this evening. Also on Northland Channel 15, it is the Coach Todd Dodge Show, brought to you by Discount Beds and More. And this is the segment where we always go look back at all the highlights, and there were a lot of highlights this past Friday night. Let's get to the first one. Keith Jerome able to get on the board. This is after a special teams fumble recovery.
Meanwhile, handoff to Keith Jerome up the middle, gets in easily, straight up the cut. From 1 yard out, the Mustangs like that on top 6-0 of this big Boerne County showdown. They take advantage of the special teams fumble.
Coach, how big of a play is that? First off, you get the fumble, then to get on the board first in a big rivalry ball game like that?
Well, we talked to our players about going out and winning the first 7 minutes of the game. We kicked off to them. Davin Manning went down, and just a big hit on their return guy caused the fumble. Zuri Buchanan, our senior, recovered it, and about 4 or 5 plays later, we put it in end zone. But in a game like that that's got all the makings of being a nail-biter at the end, you've got to get as many points as you possibly can, and the special teams led to that.
Now, Brennan Wooten, he would find Garrett Gray for 33 yards to make it 14-0. Burnet gets the ball back. They're driving. They're inside the Marble Falls 5. The defense holds. Burnet settling for a field goal. And then here's another big special teams play.
20-yard field goal for Austin Huff from the left hash. Blaine Parrish for the holder. 4th down and goal. Snap is good, hold is good, and it's blocked. Aiden Parnell gets in there, gets his hand on the ball, and it is a blocked field goal. So the 20-yarder is blocked by the senior, Aiden Parnell, coming from that left corner.
And that's Aiden Parnell for you. If you were to ask me which kid on this team wants to win more, there is not a kid I know who wants to win more than Aiden Parnell.
3 big special teams plays in that first quarter, Coach.
Well, that's an area of our football team that, when you start looking in the offseason, you start, looking under rocks and digging and finding ways to win and how you can improve as a football team. We play in one of the toughest districts in the entire, so we got to find ways. We got to think outside the box. We got to improve. And I'm really proud of the way that our special teams all combined have played in the first 3 games. They're really making a difference in creating field position. Obviously, the first 2 turnovers, and really, that right there, that was probably the biggest play in the ball game right there when it comes down to it. The final score was 56-51, and Burnet didn't score on that possession. Not only they didn't score the field goal, but they didn't score a touchdown either, and so that was a huge stop for us.
How much of that is mental for a team to overcome? When you drive that far, you go the length of the field, you're about to put points on the board, you think you should punch it in, you don't, then you get the field goal block. What does that do to the opponent?
Well, obviously, it didn't do a whole lot to them because they scored, but it is something that, the one thing that you tell your players on the defensive side of the ball is play your tail off for, 7 seconds every play. Make sure that you just keep getting stops. Make them snap the ball again. Make them snap it again. Make them snap it again. They hadn't scored yet. We constantly, you're telling your kids, sometimes they get down, they're moving the ball on you, but they hadn't scored yet. And we came up with a big play. There was a big tackle for a loss down there inside the 10-yard line by Jason Lenore, and then we blocked the kick. And Aiden Tony Salazar, our defense coordinator, does a great job with it in working on that. We work on that every single day, and it pays off.
So we move to the end of the second quarter. Burnet is within 1 point. It's 21-20. 5 seconds to go in the second quarter. It's fourth down, and this was a huge turning point in the ball game.
Boone in the shotgun, 4th down and 7. Jerome to his right, 4 receivers at the Bulldog 20, up by 1. 5 seconds on the clock in this first half. Boone has the snap, the throw, has time, stepping up, looking, throwing downfield, in the end zone, touchdown, Garrett Gray. Garrett Gray, as time expires, 20 yards out on 4th down. Boone finds Garrett Gray falling in the end zone for a touchdown, and the Mustangs up 27-20. That is huge.
Oh, that's a big-time play and a big-time catch.
Coach, you get the momentum going into the locker room, and that was just another big play that helped you guys get propelled over Burnet.
Well, the last 2 games we've scored on the last possession of the half with under a minute and a half left. We've driven down the field and scored. But that situation was one that, we put Garrett in the slot. He usually is our outside guy. We put him in the slot, and we had to have 2 football players. Had to have great protection, and Brennan did a great job of buying himself some time. But the ball had to go in the end zone. I mean, they're literally, if it was caught on the 4 and he gets tackled, it's for naught. We need to score. And so we called a 4 vertical, and Garrett, when Brennan scrambled, Garrett kept bending the route, and the young sophomore put a seat on him there and made a great catch. And, it was huge for us because we had the last possession, and then we also got the ball to open the second half. So there was a 14-point swing right there when the game had gotten to 21-20. We were able to, on 2 consecutive possessions, punch it back to 2 touchdowns.
The second half was back and forth. Marble Falls scoring, the Burnet scoring, and kept on going. And then it's 49-42 Marble Falls, and this would be the last score for the Stangs.
Boone in the shotgun on 3rd down. Has a snap, has plenty of time. He's looking, firing for the end zone. Gray, he's open, and it's caught. Touchdown. 5th time they have connected this evening. Again, Boone had plenty of time to throw. Great job by the offensive line. Finds Gray, 27 yards. The Mustangs lead 55-42, 6:58 to go in the ball game.
They're starting to really get into rhythm. 5 touchdowns that night.
Right. Well, that's, one that told Garrett before the game, we're going to feed you the ball, be a problem for him. And he's an explosive guy. He's still such a young football player, but he's the sky's the limit for the young man. He continues, day in and day out, like today. I mean, he went out and had a great practice today, worked his craft. And continues to come up with big plays, and the offensive line, as you mentioned it, 5 touchdown passes don't happen. 6 touchdown passes, that he threw don't happen without a bunch of guys up front fighting their tails off.
Coach, you had said that do you see the biggest improvement from week 1 to week 3? Can you talk a little bit about where your offensive line has grown from LaGrange to facing a 7 in the box against Burnet?
Well, it's been a steady improvement. We're pretty athletic. We didn't have any experience, but we've got some mobility. We've got some guys that we're not near as big as we were last year, but we've got some guys that are athletic and can move their feet and understand. After a while, they understand that if we give them some time, there's a lot of good things that start to happen. This young quarterback is putting the ball on people, and we got some receivers, so it all kind of goes hand in hand. They know if they really work and set a solid wall and move their feet and their technique sound, that some good things can happen, and they're the ones that make it happen.
So Burnet, they would score a touchdown, and then they go ahead and get an onside kick, so they are driving. And then here's the biggest play of the ball game, 4th down.
4th down and 11. Here we go. Kaiser in the shotgun, halfway to his left. 4 receivers on a big 4th down. Kaiser has the shotgun snap, the throw. He's looking to step up. Kaiser dumps off. That's Halfley. Halfley cuts to his right. Halfley's going to be stopped now. He passes it back. Ball is on the ground. He tried to toss it back. Ball is on the ground. Mustangs get a turnover on downs with 1:26, and it is pandemonium on the Marble Falls sideline. And the Mustangs D comes up with a huge stop.
Then you'll take a safety and to end the ball game, 56-51 the final, and a huge victory for your team.
Well, the last game you can break the whole game down. It doesn't really, when it gets down to it, doesn't matter how many yards a team gained or how many they rushed for or threw for or everything. Bottom line is it makes it different is who's got the most points. And right then at that moment in the ball game, we had the lead, and Burnet was driving to take the lead or at least tie the game to send it in overtime. And my thoughts, we were already starting to think about a possible overtime plan, because if they scored again, it probably would have been 56-56. But our kids just stepped up huge on that play.
The defense, knowing that they hadn't stopped Burnet in who knows how long, what was their mindset when they trotted out there after Burnet recovered the onside kick?
Just do your job. Right now, just bow your own neck, and we got about 2 minutes left to go in the game. No matter what's happened since, somebody's got to make a football play. And, we were able to force a fourth down, ultimately, and then we were able to get the turnover, there on fourth down, or at least a turnover on downs, and that was just, I don't care what happened before then. That was a huge play to get that offense, that explosive offense, stopped.
And the final 56-51 for the Marble Falls Mustangs over the rival, the Burnet Bulldogs. That means Boerne Champion, the Chargers, come to town. It was an exciting matchup last year. Of course, there was a state record broken, so we'll have much more. It is the Coach Todd Dodge Show, brought to you by Discount Beds and More in Marble Falls.
Now, once again, here's Ben Shields and Jennifer Fierro.
It's KBEY 103.9, Texas Best Country, also on Northland Channel 15, as we are live each and every Tuesday evening during the football season. So we looked at the Burnet ball game. Now we look ahead for another home game for the Marble Falls Mustangs. The Chargers come to town Friday night, Coach, and changing philosophies this year for the Chargers offensively.
Well, not really. Very similar. They're spread attack, a little bit more run-oriented than pass, but they look a lot the same as far as their sets. Flores, their young junior quarterback, started on defense for him last year as a sophomore. He's the starting quarterback. Good player. Good kid named Pospisil is the running back. They had like 350 yards, right around 350 rushing against Dripping Springs a couple of weeks ago, or actually last week, and in a real barn burner of a game. I tell you, the thing that impresses me the most about them is how improved they are on defense. They're a 4-down front, a 4-3 cover 4 in the back end, similar in coverages, but their down 4 are pretty impressive. They really get after the quarterback. They're not a big, they don't blitz a whole lot. Not saying they won't, but they haven't up to this point. They've got a number 3 in the back end at free safety named Josh Green, who's just a sophomore, very impressive. Had 2 interceptions and a caused fumble against Dripping Springs. They're, as I mentioned, the running back Pospisil and the quarterback are the kind of ones that make it go for them.
All right, Coach. Last year, of course, it was such a historic ball game, and maybe we'll see more fireworks coming up Friday night.
Well, it's one of those deals that I really expect our defense to improve. They are explosive on offense. They did lose some receivers, but they've been putting up some nice points. I expect us to get better on defense. Offensively, we just got to go do what we do. I think this is the best defense that we've faced as a unit to date. I think they are the best tackling team, the most sound, very coached up, well-coached team. Keith Kaiser got the job in the offseason from San Antonio Marshall. Seems like they're doing a really nice job. And, it's going to be a great matchup. And we just invite all of our fans to come out and enjoy another great night of Mustang football this coming Friday.
Now, there's a chance of rain, I believe, in the forecast. How does that affect your does that affect the way you plan going into a ball game?
Well, word on the street is going to hold off till Saturday. That's our story, and we're sticking to it. So,
hey, at least it's turf, right? Not grass.
No, can't control that. No.
Yes, you can't.
Can't control it, so we don't try to. And but our deal is we can't ever buy enough footballs. So we'll have plenty of dry footballs there. I can tell you that.
Well, and of course, Mustang Stadium drains so well anyway because of the AstroTurf. Coach, we do want to ask you about your special teams. I think we talked about the fact that Burnet, going into that game, I would have given Burnet the edge on special teams, and yet the Mustangs, just reflecting on that, I felt like we won our share of plays on special teams.
Well, I probably would give them the edge too, just from the standpoint of Huff, the punter, and the field goal kicker. And they probably won the battle versus our kickoff return because he kicked it out of the back every time. But our kickoff coverage unit, they may have won the game for us, causing two turnovers. Our PAT field goal in a game like that, we were 8 of 8 on PAT field goal during the ball game. Our punt team, our young punter who Tyler Ryan, who's a junior. Tyler, people got to understand, Tyler's never punted before, and before we when Carson Bowen got hurt, we had to find a punter, had to manufacture one, and Coach Futrell has done a great job working, and Tyler did a great job of getting the ball launched, in those situations. So really, our PAT field goal block with Aiden, as we mentioned before. Another thing that people will forget in the game is Burnet tried an onside kick before the one that they got, and Mitchell Mullenix, who's a defensive end for us and plays on our kickoff return team, had a huge recovery on that one and gave us field position at the 50-yard line, and about 4 plays later we scored our last touchdown.
All right, coming up, we're going to wrap it up. We'll be taking your questions. I got a couple of questions for Coach Todd Dodge via email. You can email us your questions, ben@ThePicayune.com. That's ben@ThePicayune.com. It is the Coach Todd Dodge Show, brought to you by Discount Beds and More, right here on KBEY 103.9 and Northland Channel 15.
It's the Coach Todd Dodge Show on KBEY 103.9. Now, back to the program with Ben Shields and Jennifer Fierro.
Thank you so much for joining us on this Tuesday evening, brought to you by Discount Beds and More, right here on KBEY 103.9 and Northland Channel 15. You can always get your emails in, ben@thepicayune.com. And, Coach, we've got a couple questions for you. First off, William from Marble Falls wants to know, what would you say is the biggest difference for the defense from this year to last year at this point in the season?
I'd say the lack of experience that we had coming into this season. We only had 2 guys that had played any varsity football, and that was Jacob Breyer and Cody Seelig, and that were considered returning starters. And then we lost Jacob to a season-ending ACL injury. So we started the season with 1 returning starter. The year before, when we first got here, we put all of the seniors on defense. So we're quite a bit less experienced, and they're gaining experience as we go, and we'll continue to grow.
All right, Coach. And then Randy from Meadow Lakes, he wants to know, you scored 65 points and 56 points respectively. How much room is there for improvement offensively?
A ton. Our big deal this week is we need to run the ball better. And not saying that the game plan for Burnet wasn't to take away the run, because it probably was. But we need to do a better job in enforcing our will in the run game. And so that's an area that we've really been focusing on. So that's probably the area biggest, making sure that we're converting our third downs, which we've been good at so far, protecting the quarterback. But the biggest thing is to run the ball better when the defense gives, when a numbers standpoint, if they pack 7 in the box, we kind of have to throw the ball. But we expect this week that this bunch is probably going to play, more, 4 in the 5 in the box and play a little bit more coverage.
Coach, when you think about Boerne Champion, I know last year people talk about that record-breaking night. The mindset of the Mustangs going into this game, is it more along let's just improve and let's win one at home, or do you really feel like this is going to be another legendary game?
We don't think about any legendary games. We weren't thinking about that last year. Obviously, you just go there and you play hard and you go execute your offense, defense, and kicking game. We're just looking to get better right now. We have a ton of respect for them. It jumps out at you, the improvement that they've made, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I think it's a really good matchup. I think it's going to be a very entertaining football game. They have our full respect. It was 62-55 last year. Even though it was a record-setting night, it was a 7-point ball game. And so regardless if it was 14-7 or 62-55, it was a 7-point ball game. And so our kids and coaches, we're not, anticipating anything other than just trying to play as good as we possibly can.
All right, Coach, I was at a friend's house this past weekend. We were flipping through the channels. Longhorn Network came on. And on Sunday, they were showing a game from 1984, the Texas Longhorns versus the Auburn Tigers, Bo Jackson, and the quarterback, of course, for the Texas Longhorns, Coach Todd Dodge.
Yeah, that's one that seems to keep getting recycled through the years. I've had players, I've been coaching 27 years and had players come and say, I saw you last night. Boy, you sure had a funny haircut.
How much do they try to emulate your throwing motion from 1984, Coach?
I hope not. I hope I'm a better coach than I was a quarterback. But that was a fun year and a fun start to the year. We beat Auburn to start to see they were number one in the nation. Then we went the next week and beat Penn State up in the Meadowlands. We actually beat the number one team in the nation 2 weeks in a row. And so that's some great memories playing for the Horns.
I think they even showed one time on the sideline, Coach Akers was giving you what for, something on the play clock, and he was really letting you have it.
Yeah, I've had my tail chewed out before, I can tell you that.
Now, Coach Akers lives in Horseshoe Bay.
Yes.
Do you two go out and play golf sometimes?
I have not, but I've seen him several times since we in the year and a half that we've been here. I've connected with Coach Akers, and it's been great to be able to see him.
All right, Coach, it was great to see you on TV this past weekend. Again, your Mustangs victorious 56-51 over the Burnet Bulldogs, and now the Chargers come to town.
And on a 2-game winning streak, Ben.
A 2-game winning streak. Importantly, 65 points against Smithville and 56 points against the Burnet Bulldogs.
Okay. And, of course, on Friday night, we'll have our pregame show, 6:30, where we go over some more stuff with Coach Dodge and Kirk Jones and Craig Slaughter. We talk to some of the players. Then at 7 o'clock, you and I will be live at Mustang Stadium.
Really looking forward to it. Second home game of the season. And then you've got the bye week coming up. Coach, do y'all look forward to the bye?
It's going to be a good time. It really is. Right before district play starts, it's going to give us a chance to heal up a little bit. We're pretty fortunate. God's been good to us as far as injuries. We're going to get Carson Bowen back. It'll give him another week to be back. He'll be back full speed. Wanted to mention that on Thursday night that our freshman teams will be here at home, and our JV team will be traveling to Boerne, and that also our 8th graders are playing over at the middle school right now as we speak. So if you get a chance, get out and watch the young Mustangs.
All right, Coach, we'll let you get out there and watch the young Mustangs. This has been the Coach Todd Dodge Show, brought to you by Discount Beds and More in Marble Falls, brought to you by Discount Beds and More on Northland Channel 15 and KBEY 103.9. We'll be back here next Tuesday taking your questions as well via email, ben@thepicayune.com. That's ben@thepicayune.com. Thank you so much for joining us.